Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. It's Tracy, your teen life coach, and today I have my lovely peer mentor, Miss Leah, and she's going to be talking to you about some tips that address our theme for the week, or our topic for the week, which is it's okay not to be okay. We do acknowledge that it's okay to not be okay, but Leah is going to talk about some things to help you get out of that state once you're in it. So you got to acknowledge that you're there, and then what? Can't stay in that negative headspace.
My name is Leah. I'm so excited to be here. I've known Miss Wisdom for the longest. She's great at giving advice and stuff like that. So I'm so happy to be here to talk about the topic of it's okay not to be okay.
Thank you. Did you want to kind of talk about what you're dealing with right now? How you just graduated?
So I recently graduated from high school back in June, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Before the whole while we were still in quarantine, I was actually glad I was able to go to my graduation. It was fun. I was glad that I was able to finally move on. High school's behind me, and now I've entered even a bigger fishing pool of college.
Mm-hmm.
They really should make warning labels on the different universities you attend. It's warning, you will be overwhelmed and stressed out, but it's okay because it gets better.
Yes.
Hopefully. Yeah, but now
hopefully.
if you manage and you're good, if you don't let it eat at you and go and get help and you use resources and you're kind to yourself, it will get better. Right. I promise you that one. But yeah, now in college, the first weeks of college, I set such high expectations for myself. I'm yeah, I'm gonna conquer this, I got it. I did not got it. I was so bad. I'm just you know what? It's okay. I'll do better next time. And my mom had to tell me, she's your first semester, you may not do as well as you hoped. And she told me about how she did in college. And so it was comforting to know that I wasn't in the same boat by myself. So yeah, I'm definitely now this next session, I'm trying to do a lot better than I did the last time. I'm going to be kinder to myself. I'm going to use my resources. I'm going to communicate. I'm definitely going to try and do better.
Okay. All right. So perfect. Thank you so much for sharing some of what you're going through. I'm sure there's other young people that were kind of stuck in this whole crazy transition with the pandemic and, getting right out of high school or getting right into, a new grade or maybe starting a new job or anything that's new, and in this moment and this climate that we're in, trying to be successful at that can be very challenging.
Especially when you first graduate from high school, it's you're glad that you're leaving, but it's a little sad because it's everything is gonna be different now. It's at least when you were going to a new grade, you're in the same environment. You're moving on with your friends. When you go to college, sometimes when you're going to a different college, you're not moving on with your friends. It's you by yourself, and you have to make new friends and meet new people. And it's I'm the type of person, I'm friendly, but to a certain extent, if I go off based off someone's vibes. If I feel you're a nice person, I'm gonna talk to you. But if I feel you're going to give me the icy cold stare and you're gonna silently judge me, I'm maybe not talk to that person. But that's the whole part of going to college because you don't know what to expect. It's a new experience for everyone. So
I think that that's a common feeling or sentiment from a lot of young people. People in general, I'm an observer. I like to kind of sit in the background. Mm-hmm. But I do think a lot of young people definitely, move with vibes and feelings and kind of having a sense of people. And in a way, that's a great way to protect yourself, and to keep yourself safe and make good choices. So you just have to, of course, with everything, find a middle ground to make sure that you're not missing out on opportunities because you are afraid to, kind of press at somebody's vibe a little bit, because people are all different. We're all different. And you may not really know how you connect with somebody until you start up a conversation. So I'm glad that you're challenging yourself in that area. And so I have here your the 3 things that you sent me that you kind of wanted to discuss. Mm-hmm. And looking forward to hear what, wisdom that you can impart to our viewers who may be in a similar situation, like I said, starting something new and, you know, trying to navigate through all of that, you know, in a healthy way. So I'll just start in the order that you sent them. Number 1 was overstressing yourself.
Yes. This is like the worst for me because like I hate the word perfectionist, but I tend to be a bit of a perfectionist sometimes because, like, if it's not the exact same way I thought it was going to turn out in my head, I'm just like, I don't even want to, like, no. It has to be the exact same way. And when you beat yourself up over and over for not nailing it on the head the exact same way, it's damaging to your self-esteem and to your mind because it's just like, nothing ever is going to be perfect. Nothing, like, the only perfect thing in this world is Jesus. The only perfect thing in this world. So when you constantly try and perfect things and you're not kind to yourself, you know, you're just like, you call yourself names, you beat yourself down, you're actually sabotaging yourself from ever getting better, and I feel like the first week of college, I set like these extremely high standards for myself. I'm like, you know, I'm gonna meet all my deadlines. I'm gonna get straight A's. I did not get straight A's. It was bad. I had a bit of a meltdown. I was just no. My mom will tell you, I was crying in my room, just like, why are my grades not what I'm supposed to be? Like, I graduated from high school with such good grades. Why? And I feel like you expect things to happen. Like, everyone has like an idea in their mind of how college is gonna be, but they don't realize until they get there that it's not like that at all. For some people it is, but like for me, the way I thought it was gonna be, it was not exactly how it was gonna be at all. And it was just like, what am I doing? It's like, you know, you get so stressed out. It's just like, am I meant to do this? And you start to doubt yourself. It's just like, no, this is what you're meant to do. It's like your brain starts to play tricks on you. It taps into your insecurities, and it makes you think these awful things about yourself, and that's not you. That's your evil version of yourself. You know, there's always two sides to a person. The bad one, yeah, that's the bad side. And it's like, you got to give yourself a break. You need to be kinder to yourself. You know, you have to, you know, you're not always going to nail it on the head at the first try. When you do, that's great. But you have to realize not every time it's going to be perfect. And I feel like the more quicker we realize these things, the more we won't be so quick to judge ourselves and be like, you know, put ourselves down and be, you know, mean to ourselves, because we can't be mean to ourselves. That's not right. You know, no one loves you like you. You can't take away that main source of love for yourself by being mean to you and bullying you. Because if you don't respect yourself, no one else will. And I remember you told me that you have to have self-respect for yourself.
Exactly. Okay, I love that. So instead of overstressing, be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself, love yourself. Do you have anything in particular that you do to de-stress when you're feeling that way?
Well, I love talking to like God, praying. You know, God is the greatest listener. He's even if you think he's not listening, he's listening. And, you know, talking to my friends who've been in a similar situation, talking to my parents. You know, I know teenagers these days think, you know, oh, they've never been in our situation before. They don't know what we're going through, but they know to some extent what we're going through. They've been through it. I know it seems like it's been forever ago since they've been our age, but it's true. They do understand what we're going through. And another thing that I like to do to help me distress a lot, I'm a big Words of Friends fanatic. Like, I'm addicted to it. So like finding like a hobby sometimes, when you set aside time for yourself, like, you know, I like doing that. Even reading a good book, like, I like doing this. I'm going to do this for a certain amount of time to help me relieve, you know, and distress and get out of my mind. You know, sometimes it's good to turn off that side of your brain that's always like, you know, work, and like focus on some other things. Because if you like live your life always focusing on work, you're never going to, like, you know, look up and realize that you actually arrived at your destination. You're always going to think there's more that I can do. Then it's like, you know, you're digging for something and you're going to miss where you're trying to get, and you're going to end up like dropping it.
Exactly.
If you don't, like, you know, take time. Recharge.
Yep. Okay, I love that. So just to reiterate what you said, you for when you're feeling stressed, you did talk about being kind to yourself and loving yourself, and then some solutions for dealing with the stress. you know, if you're not able to kind of reset yourself, is to talk with God and, you know, trust in your faith, speak to friends that may have gone through something similar, or, you know, just basically they just understand where you're at, you know, somebody who can relate to you, talking to your family, even though these young people may feel like parents and, you know, family don't care or they don't want to hear about it, but we definitely understand. As a parent, I can tell you that, you know, most of the things we have been there before, or we've, you know, known someone who's experienced it. We may have something to say. I do tell, you know, my kids, when you are speaking with adults, understand that adults are going to kind of give you everything that they know. They're going to tell you their opinion, their side, their view. So take what is for you and let the rest go. And you don't have to show any disrespect or any disagreement. You just take what's for you, and you take the positive that they've given you, and you use that towards your own growth. Another addition to talking to parents could be a trusted adult.
Yeah,
or
like use your resources, like communicate.
Right.
Even if, like, you know, not like just like a pastor, or someone you know that might give you sound advice, might give you a different perspective on life, you know. Someone who will take your mind off things and help you realize, like, you know, sometimes you are in the wrong and you don't know how to get out of it, and they can help you find a solution. Or sometimes it's the other way around, like you weren't wrong and you're beating yourself up about it. And, you know, sometimes, you know, we like to play the blame game, and that's just horrible, because, like, you end up blaming yourself for so many things that probably weren't even your fault, and you didn't even realize that you were doing these things to yourself.
Yep. And then I'd like the last thing that you shared, which was finding something fun to kind of just take your mind off of all that you're thinking about, a hobby or an activity to de-stress. I love that idea. I like to read, and I like to color. And I like going to the beach. I write poetry. I like poetry. I love it. And my favorite thing to do is write poetry at the beach. That's like
so much fun.
That's like a picnic.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I also like dance. Dance is so much fun, especially in my family. Like, I live in a Caribbean household, so there's always going to be, at some point, you're going to hear
some movement
loud. There's always going to be some. My dad, he's notorious for, like, blasting reggae at like 3 a.m. in the morning. Like, he'll do it, and he'll make everyone dance with him. Like, aww. It's so funny, especially, like, with my mom. My mom claims she can't dance, but she's not that bad. She's not as bad as she says she is. She needs to give herself a bit more credit for it. But, like, my family, we love to dance. It's, like, fun. We'll have, like, a little Zumba night sometimes. Me and my sisters will dance. It's fun. It's a great way to distress, you know. Yes. You don't realize how much you're letting go once, like, you're in the moment and you're moving. It's just like, all this aggression, it's out.
Right. I love that. That's important. Finding those things that you enjoy and that are fun to help you refocus. Okay. And so your second point was not letting yourself rest. So can you talk on that a little bit?
Me and sleep have a very toxic relationship. It started in high school when I would stay up to like the crack of dawn just to complete assignments. Like, my mother's correcting me, sleep and I. But yeah, I would stay up to like the crack of dawn doing my homework just to like get it in on time, like to get all my grades perfect. And like because of like time management, I was so busy. Like, I was doing after school stuff, I was doing poetry. I had like so many things on my mind, and I'm just like, if I had just taken like the time to breathe, reset, you know, sleep, I probably would have gotten it done in the same amount of time and even better. Like, people don't realize sleep is like so important, because like without sleep you become like disgruntled, you know, you're miserable, you're unhappy, like you'll have meltdowns. You're like, it's bad. Like, I've seen it happen to myself before. It's not good. And like, sleep is a great escape from like your daily life. Like, sleep is the one thing you do need to like leave. Like, during quarantine, I was sleeping so much, like, just to escape, because I was so sad that I was stuck in the house, and, like, sleep was the one thing I can use to, like, escape, you know, my dreams and go different places, and it's great. And, you know, it's also a form of self-care. You need to recharge yourself, because you can be spiritually, emotionally, and mentally drained. And sleep, it covers all four. When you go to bed and you're on your pillow, it's like you close your eyes. It's like your body is just, it's silent to the world. It's like nothing is bothering you. All your problems can wait till the next day. I always like to tell myself, I'm sleeping now. These problems are Leah's problems. I'm not going to worry about them anymore.
I love that. Tomorrow, Leah.
Tomorrow, Leah will deal with this. Today, Leah is going to sleep.
I love that. That's a good thing to remember. Yes, I love that. Thank you for that one. Okay. All right. And the third topic is setting unrealistic expectations for yourself. Yeah, you touched on that a little bit when you talked about being a perfectionist, but really talk about what that means, and, talking about prioritizing and your, the different things that you were sharing with me when you said you wanted to go ahead and do this meet. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, I feel like my source of setting high expectations is I'm the oldest right now. So I feel like whatever I do, my sisters, my brothers, they're watching me, and they're just I have to make sure that I'm setting a good example. I want them to be successful, and I want them to see a good image of the success, as me. They can look up to me oh wow, she did it, so I can do it, But when you constantly push yourself to be perfect, that's damaging, because it makes them think, okay, if she's so perfect, I can't have a chance to mess up. It's when you come from a family when everyone seems perfect, it's okay, I'm so-and-so's, I'm Miss Content's daughter, they all know her for being intelligent, and she speaks great, she speaks perfect. So when I speak, I have to sound intelligent, I have to sound great. And it's a vicious cycle of always not asking for help, and you don't want to sound dumb, you don't want anyone judging you, thinking, oh wow, you didn't know that, wow, you must really not be as smart as you look, and it's the way you carry yourself as well. It's when you have a family name, there comes a bit of pressure with it to maintain the image of being perfect, and And I feel the first week of school, I'm I'm a content. I can do this. I graduated high school. I made it. Okay, what's college? I can handle this.
Right.
I thought I could do it by myself, but I can't. You should never go into something thinking you can do it by yourself, because you can't. It's literally impossible to do things by yourself. You need at some point help. And even if you feel like you can do it by yourself, emotionally and mentally, you're going to want to talk to someone about it. At the end of the day, you're going to want to express your feelings to someone. And when you don't, and you suppress those emotions and it's not healthy. You just walking around with all this pent up aggression and anger and emotions, and you're just why do I feel like this? You feel bad. And at some point your body is just going to want to reject it. It's just this is not good for us. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you end up spoiling it on some poor person. It's just you have to address and communicate your issues. And you have to realize, you have to be kind to yourself. Like I said, you can't think that you're going to be perfect and that you're going to nail everything on the head at the same time, because you won't. It's literally impossible to do that. And that mindset is damaging to everyone, especially those who come from a family, especially I know minority families, especially there's this pressure to be perfect, because if you're a first generation college student, you're you can't mess up, you have to do this good, and especially if you're there's a lot of pressure on your college, stuff like that. And if you have health issues and stuff like that, it's overwhelming how much you have to try to be good, because there's always going to be the mindset that, oh, someone's always going to be ahead of me, I have to be ahead of them, and that type of mindset is just bad. You will not get sleep when you think of that. That's what actually ended up happening to me, because the first week of college, I kept thinking, the discussion post, I was telling you, it was bad, because everyone else sounds more intelligent than I do. Why is this happening? I just study so hard, but somehow theirs sounds better than mine. So when you let go, when you start to think, maybe I should be kinder to myself and think, not everything's going to be perfect. And the sooner you realize that, the easier it will be for you to accept failure.
Right. And why is it important to accept failure? I'm glad you said that. You said two things that I like. to accept failure. And then I'm going to go back to the other one after you talk about failure. The other one that I liked was when you said, coming from a minority household. And I feel like adults don't realize that young people are holding these burdens on their back, and that these are things that are important to young people, teens, young adults. They're thinking of this all the way through school. They have all of these responsibilities, and we as adults are like, well, I didn't tell them that was their responsibility, but you adapted those responsibilities. You saw a need and you're trying to meet it. I think it's a natural human response. And so I think that's why it's so important that we recognize and respect young people, because I believe a lot of times we, overlook them. We don't realize that, where their mentality is at and what they see and what they're observing. So talk about accepting failure. I like that a lot.
I feel like the quicker you're able to realize that, I'm not always going to be perfect, I'm going to fail sometimes. When you realize that you're going to fail sometimes, you can look back on your wrongdoings and you can really evaluate, like, wow, so this is where I messed up. And you can learn a lesson. A lot of people don't realize sometimes when you fail, that was an intended lesson that you were meant to learn so that you can move forward and do better. Like, I feel like in high school, if I would have learned to accept failure more, I would have been able to move on and not self-sabotage myself as much, and I would be able to prioritize more things. Like, and like I touched on, like, being a minority, and not even that, like, during high school, I was doing so many things. I was part of the drama club. I was president. I was doing after-school classes. And not to mention, my mom worked at my school, and everyone loved my mom. She was like, Miss Content, she's the most popular teacher. It's like, as your daughter, you have to be perfect. I thought I would never let anyone see me as the type of person who didn't have their stuff together. I was everyone. I think everyone in my class was like, as bad as she may have it with her health issues, at least she's organized, at least she's on time, at least she has good grades, At least for me, if I didn't have my grades, it's like, what else do you have? Because, like, the main focus is, like, getting into college, get good grades, bring my family honor, make them proud, make them see that the struggle, the work that they went through, it was worth it for me. And, don't fail so that they don't regret what they did. I feel like that's another thing that was on my mind mostly in college, is like, don't fail so they don't regret what they did for you, so that they don't go back and say, I did such and such for you, and this is all you have to show for it.
Right.
It's like you can't, and that mentality, it's like, you're not going to get anywhere thinking like that. If you constantly think that they're going to expect something out of you, you're just going to, it's like you're chasing your own tail. It's like, it's bad,
Right.
And that's, like I said, it's a vicious cycle of always thinking, not asking for help because you think you have to already know, you think you have to be a step ahead, being the oldest and having all these things running in your family. You have to think, wow, okay, so I have to be the prime example. This is what I'm setting the standard, setting the bar. But not everyone's going to reach that bar because people are different, People, they grow at their own rate. My mom, she had to let me know that, like, people, because she teaches special ed, and she tells me, like, everyone learns at their own rate.
Right.
So not everyone's going to be able to reach that same target you did at the same time you did it, the same way you did. You know what I mean?
Right. That's why you have to set your own personal expectations. We talked about the 3 points of overstressing, not getting enough rest, and setting high expectations. And you gave us some great tips on how to deal with all of those issues that you might face when you are not feeling okay. And again, we want to say that it's perfectly okay to not be okay. Acknowledge it, and then take some steps to move out of that state of mind. And Leah gave us some great tips on how to do just that. So I wanted to hear about some things that you use specifically for college that maybe you could share with our viewers. Some different links that we're going to have those links at the bottom and probably at the end of this video, so you guys can catch them later.
A lot of, like, the extensions that I use, like, for my Google Chrome browsers, for my classes, I found a lot of them on TikTok. Specifically, the college TikToks. Like, if you watch like a lot of videos on TikTok that talk about college, they lump you into that category. And so I like found about Momentum, Zotero, Podcastle. It turns all the articles that you have to read into like podcasts, so you can listen to it and do something else at the same time. And it's great for people who know how to multitask. That's perfect for you.
Okay.
Zotero, if your teacher is obsessed with citing, all you have to do is get the extension, click on it, and it'll cite the page for you. It has like over 8,000 citations. And my teachers, they're like APA 7th edition. So I don't really worry about it. I'm like, citations, I got that. It's perfect. And then I use Momentum. It's like this great screensaver. It gives you different backgrounds, quotes, and it helps you like list out what you have to do through the day. It's like a little secretary for you, for your work.
Okay.
So yeah, I love using it. And Grammarly, that's another one that people invest in. Grammarly. It'll save you on all your essays. It will save your life. Grammarly,
okay.
I love it.
I will be looking into some of those myself because I'm currently taking some courses. So I'm really excited to look up those links. And I just really want to thank you, Leah, for coming on and doing this peer mentoring session. I think it's really important for young people to not always hear voices of people that are older than them, but also their peers who have experienced or are experiencing something similar to what they may be going through, to just know that you're not alone, and that someone else, is making it through or has made it through. So that can be some encouragement to you as well. And if you are interested in being a peer mentor and doing a session with me, you'll just need to send an email to www.youthcoaching@gmail.com and just let me know what you want to talk about. Every week I have a new topic that I, am addressing throughout the week with posts, videos, things that I'm sharing. Obviously my peer session, and then Sundays I go live at 7. So I look forward to hearing from all of you guys and setting up peer sessions throughout the rest of the year and into the new year. And I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy. And everybody have a great rest of your day. All right. Thank you, Leah.
I had a great time being on here. It was an honor. I had so much fun. And thank you for listening to me, give my advice and letting me rant a little bit about what's going on. I can't wait till the next session to see this when the video comes out. So I hope everyone watches it. It's going to be great.
All right. Thanks, Leah. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Later, guys.